In the misty hills of Zhenjiang, along the banks of the Yangtze River, stands a modest estate that once housed one of history's most brilliant minds. Here, in the 11th century, a Chinese polymath named Shen Kuo penned what would become one of the world's first comprehensive scientific encyclopedias. He called it Mengshi Bitan, the Dream Torrent Essays. The year is 1088. Shen Kuo, once a powerful court official and military strategist, has fallen from grace. Political intrigue has stripped him of his positions, but gifted him something perhaps more valuable: time to think, to observe, and to record the wonders of the natural world. Joseph Needham, the great historian of Chinese science, called Shen Kuo the most interesting character in all Chinese scientific history. And when you read the Dream Torrent Essays, you understand why. This wasn't just a collection of observations, it was a new way of thinking about the world. The Dream Torrent Essays contains over 600 entries covering an astonishing range of topics: mathematics, astronomy, geography, geology, medicine, archaeology, music, and military technology. But what makes this work extraordinary isn't just its breadth, it's Shen Kuo's revolutionary approach to understanding nature. Take astronomy. For centuries, Chinese astronomers had followed ancient star maps without question. But Shen Kuo noticed something troubling: the stars weren't where they were supposed to be. Instead of dismissing this as error, he made a startling conclusion: the stars themselves had moved. Shen Kuo was observing what we now call proper motion, the apparent movement of stars across the sky over long periods. This was an incredible insight for the 11th century. He was literally watching the universe change. But Shen Kuo's genius extended far beyond the heavens. He was perhaps the first person in history to understand the true nature of the compass. While others saw it as magic, Shen Kuo recognized magnetic declination, the difference between magnetic north and true north. The magnetic needle, he wrote, does not point exactly south, but inclines slightly to the east. This seemingly simple observation would revolutionize navigation and our understanding of Earth's magnetic field. In the Taihang Mountains, Shen Kuo made a discovery that challenged everything people believed about Earth's history. High in the peaks, far from any ocean, he found something extraordinary: seashells embedded in rock. What Shen Kuo discovered were marine fossils at high altitude. His explanation was revolutionary: these mountains were once under the sea. The land had been lifted up over vast periods of time. This was uniformitarian geology, 800 years before James Hutton. Shen Kuo wrote, the sea turned into land, and land turned into sea. These changes occurred gradually over long periods. He had grasped deep time, the concept that Earth's history spans unimaginable ages. His geological insights didn't stop there. He studied river deltas, understanding how sediment slowly built up land. He examined weathering patterns, grasping how mountains eroded grain by grain. He was doing modern geology a millennium before the word existed. The Dream Torrent Essays also documents one of history's most important inventions: movable type printing. Shen Kuo describes how Bisheng created individual clay characters that could be arranged and rearranged to print different texts. This was 400 years before Gutenberg. But what's remarkable is how Shen Kuo understood the significance. He saw that this wasn't just a printing technique, it was a way to democratize knowledge itself. In medicine, Shen Kuo documented surgical procedures, described the first known use of thyroid hormone to treat goiter, and even recorded what appears to be the first clinical description of diabetes. His mathematical insights included early concepts of infinite series and sophisticated astronomical calculations. Perhaps most remarkably, Shen Kuo was conducting scientific archaeology centuries before the discipline existed. When bronze vessels were unearthed bearing ancient inscriptions, scholars debated their authenticity. Shen Kuo developed systematic methods to verify their age and origin. He looked at corrosion patterns, analyzed inscription styles, and even studied the chemical composition of the bronze. These are techniques we still use today. He was applying scientific method to historical questions. He wrote, in examining ancient artifacts, one must consider not just their appearance, but their material composition, their historical context, and the consistency of their details with known historical facts. Shen Kuo died in 1095, leaving behind a work that was centuries ahead of its time. But as China turned inward under successive dynasties, the scientific revolution he had begun was forgotten. The Dream Torrent Essays survived, copied and recopied by scholars, but its radical insights were treated as mere curiosities. It's one of history's great tragedies. If Shen Kuo's methods had been developed and spread, the scientific revolution might have begun in China 500 years earlier. Instead, his ideas had to be rediscovered independently in Europe. Today, scientists reading the Dream Torrent Essays are astounded by its modernity. Shen Kuo's approach, careful observation, systematic recording, hypothesis testing, is recognizably the scientific method. His insights about magnetism, geology, and astronomy were remarkably accurate. In 2010, the International Astronomical Union named a crater on the Moon after Shen Kuo, honoring his contributions to lunar calendar reform. It's a fitting tribute to a man who spent his life studying the heavens. The Dream Torrent Essays takes its name from Shen Kuo's estate, where he spent his final years. But perhaps the title has deeper meaning. In Chinese philosophy, life itself is sometimes seen as a dream, ephemeral, mysterious, full of hidden meanings, waiting to be understood. Shen Kuo wrote, "Heaven and earth are like a great book, and all things in it are like the characters. The wise person learns to read this book." For him, science wasn't just about facts and theories, it was about reading the secret language of the universe. Near the end of his life, Shen Kuo reflected on his work. "What I have written down are merely the traces of my thoughts, like footprints in sand. But perhaps future generations will follow these traces and journey further than I ever could." Today, as we peer deeper into space and time than Shen Kuo could have imagined, we're still asking the same questions that drove him. How does the universe work? What is our place in it? How can we understand the mysterious forces that shape our world? The Dream Torrent Essays reminds us that the scientific spirit, the drive to observe, question, and understand, is as old as human curiosity itself. In the quiet gardens of his estate, writing by candlelight over 9 centuries ago, Shen Kuo was already dreaming the dreams we dream today. The dream continues.
Thanks for watching.